I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle
Welcome
just to
all,
be
this
me.
is the Australian
Had to
Indie
rise
Wrestling
up just
Show,
so they
fellow
could see
wrestlers,
me.
trainees, event
Did what
support
I had
staff,
to do
friends,
just to
foes, and
feed
everyone
me.
in
And what
between.
was left
If
over,
you've
I
got
put towards my
questions, well, again, you
dreams.
should have
But
got
the
them in
only thing
last
in
week
life that
because
has
everyone's
meaning
got the
are
answers
the
this
things you
week.
gotta work
And
for.
Don, it all ends at dusk. How was it?
It was a great night. A lot of really cool storytelling parts that were happening. I watched live Edward Dusk versus James Hartness, and they proceeded to beat the ever-loving shit out of each other. Hard-hitting, strong style sort of wrestling match.
And I
Uh,
hear Go Time is already out on YouTube.
they do not muck around with that. You can catch Dex Van Diemen versus Dan Moore and Ryan Allen versus Papa Germ. Papa
Well,
Germ, one of the more.
unfortunately, that's not what people are here for this week. Uh, I'm not even going to bother with my weekend. I was sick. No one wants to hear about that, according to the data. They're here to hear from Allstar Owner Mitch Christensen, and let's get into it now. Well, for those who aren't aware, we are speaking to Mitch Christian, the owner of Allstar Wrestling, based in New South Wales. And we've seen online originally that there was to be a merger between Allstar and ACW. For the viewers unaware, how long have you been in the wrestling industry, Mitch? I mean, you've been around involved with Allstar for a fair while now, haven't you?
Yeah, All-Star started in 2018, so promoting for 8 years, just over.
Yeah. And like, it seems like you really ramped it up around like 2025. We even had like a few bogus lists going around, and you reached a high as number 6 in some of them. And yeah, you're getting around, doing quite a fair few shows, mate. How was that all going?
I loved the schedule for a long time. Then I got really burned out. So
That'll
it's
happen.
it's a love-hate thing, I guess.
Yeah, you put in all that effort to really push what you're doing, and then you said as you're in it, it's all good, but then you get to a point where it's like, man, this is taking up a lot of my life, and it wears you down for sure. Were you involved in wrestling previously to All Star Wrestling?
Yeah, I was doing some refereeing for IWA and UWA, which is now Rock and Roll Wrestling in Wollongong. Um,
Is so UWA, is that used to be owned by Scarecrow?
Yeah, I think he owned it like before the guys that bought it owned it.
Yep,
But
yep, yep.
I was there for Hunter Hayes' first show. He's been promoting for a very long time.
Oh, cool.
And I think 2008,
Yep.
I started with him.
Oh, nice. I bring that up because the first time I ever travelled interstate was to UWA. A friend of mine, Jose Del Santo, he had moved over to Sydney and was wrestling for UWA. I got the opportunity to wrestle there on a show. I remember commentator Ed Locke, and then meeting a bunch of the guys over there. This was, man, I think it was like 2004, 2005, maybe. At the latest, maybe 2006. Like, yeah, it couldn't have been any later than that.
Yeah, Edlock was one of the owners when I was there as well. He's a great guy.
Yep.
Well, Mitch, I got to ask, is this the first time during your run at All-Star Wrestling that like podcasts have started reaching out to you for comments?
No, I've done a few podcasts before, but I try to avoid podcasts for the most part. I don't like to be the center of like All-Star. I like to put the emphasis on the talent.
Yeah, no, you did a great job with that. I got to admit, like you really made Keegan, Puppet Master, and all those guys look like stars. They kept coming across our feed, stuff like that. So yeah, got to admit in that respect, you really did excel. Yeah, why did you choose to speak on this platform about your media release the other day?
Well, I am a fan of you guys, actually. I listen to the podcast every week.
Cheers, man.
Well, when something pops up, I'll give it a look, and I figured this is the best way to go about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, tell us a bit about it. What's going down, mate?
So there was the release on, I guess last week, and I couldn't say too much before that release, but now I can, because the agreement talked about confidentiality and all that. They broke the agreement, so now I can be public with everything.
And what sort of were those agreements about? And like it sounded like there was a sale or something, and just it fall through, or what was the purchase of Allstar a work? Was it what was going on there, mate?
Yeah, so pretty much Hassan, the ACW owner, he wanted to work the nation, I guess, into believing that All-Star had been sold, but it was never sold. I didn't feel very comfortable with the idea either. But it was his idea and his brainchild, and I guess that's what we went with.
Yeah, and like so sort of when did that sort of coming apart? Like
Oh, maybe 5 or 6 weeks ago. That that was when it was pitched to me. I wasn't really interested in ACW as a project, to be honest, but some friends got me involved, and I jumped in, I guess.
yeah.
Well, I mean,
Oh,
the
fair enough.
idea of something that's more of a national platform, the idea of that in itself is good. Like, how it all sort of folds out is a different story. But I think secretly, we all in Australian wrestling want there to be some sort of platform on that level of like a national show where it's showcasing everyone, no matter where they are, here, there, or everywhere, and everyone has that opportunity. If it goes that way, where there is a top end where people can make it a living out of it, you know, and there is something like that. So I imagine there was some sort of like, hey man, this could be cool, but obviously things didn't exactly pan out that way.
Well, for sure, when it was floated to me, I'm like, this is a great idea. This is a great concept. I did think a touring product around the nation right away was a bit ambitious, but I do believe that's a good long-term goal. And as you said, like that's what I think everybody wants, this big national product that's seen everywhere.
Mm.
So yeah, it certainly was an exciting prospect, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you plan to try putting a stop to the June 20th show using the All Stars banner, or is you just going to let it go ahead and be what it is?
Well, I'm not a lawyer, and I don't pretend to know all the legal stuff behind it. So I don't know what my rights are. I've been told that it could be a breach of my intellectual property, but I don't know for sure. I just think it's important to raise awareness that we're not, where as in All Star, is not involved in this.
Yeah.
Like it seems to kind of in a way be like, what's the word to use, like, it seems very murky. Like I saw a photo of Adam Brooks go up a few days ago, and it's Adam Brooks with the Eastern States title, and it says All Stars Wrestling at the Padstow RSL Club, and it's our belt with our champion, and it's like, oh, like that really could fool some people, especially if they're not up to date on, all the All-Star social media, the ACW social media, etc.
How's your relationship with a few of the other fellas? Still okay, or we noticed the tag team
Uh,
titles were vacant and
yeah, so with them, we're unfortunately not speaking anymore, which is a shame because those two were very close friends of mine, and I think like there might have been 3 or 4 guys that have wrestled over 100 matches in All-Star, and I think those two were two of them. So yeah, there's no relationship there anymore. They've kind of withheld the tag titles as well. They won't give them back. So it's an unfortunate ending to the relationship there, but it is what it is, I guess.
it's unfortunate. So what actually led to this breakdown in communication? Was it anything in particular? Do you think was there a turning point? Like
Uh, well, as I said earlier, I was never really. I always thought the project was a bit too ambitious, but pretty much without saying too much, because I can only talk about the agreement. I can't talk about what happened before. But he, meaning Hassan, the ACW owner, he was trying to get use of Allstar assets, mainly the ring and the belts. And we never had an agreement in regards to that. The agreement was the name and the social media. So he was asking for these assets like mailing lists and wrestling rings and wrestling belts. And I'm like, I don't really want the belts to be used. I don't really want to give the mailing list, but if you want to use the wrestling ring, you can use the wrestling ring. But I usually charge for that. And he seemed like completely oblivious to renting equipment. It's pretty funny. He's like, why should I pay? And I'm like, well, like there's overhead of the ring. It's an expensive thing to maintain. We got to bring it to you. Got to rent a truck. He was just kind of like, no, like that should come out of the percentage that I'm getting for the show. And like I didn't understand why he wouldn't understand the concept of a ring hire. But that was kind of where things started to unravel. Then there was the belts. He was upset that I didn't want the belts to be used. Then he said he was going to keep the belts meaning the tag titles.
Yeah.
And like after that, he just started taking like personal digs, and it all kind of unraveled from there, unfortunately.
That's unfortunate. Like it's I feel like it sounds like the agreement wasn't super clear. With what was happening specifically with the merge. I mean, it sounds like it was all presented as a buyout. And if it was an actual financial buyout, then there'd be no recourse as far as what they can use, what they can do. However, if it wasn't actually a buyout, there would still be some sort of separate agreement that would need to be made as far as use of the ring. Because like you say, it doesn't just appear there. You need people to put it together, because not everyone can put a ring together. I've seen it happen on shows where someone's trying to put the ring together. They got no clue what they're doing, and it takes hours because they have to stop, readjust, move this, move that, make sure everything's working properly. It's a security and safety concern to make sure that works. And then, the agreement as far as using naming and championships, that all needs to be agreed upon. So it does sound like you're saying it wasn't fully agreed upon, and then things started moving, and then that's how it sort of. Would you say that's how it sort of fell apart?
Yeah, but I also kind of got the feeling when I was still actively talking to him that he might not have read the agreement himself, because like I read it twice before I signed it, and then when he was saying that I was in breach constantly, that was a constant thing. I would read it again. So I've read it maybe 4 or 5 times. I'm not sure he's ever read the agreement, because he would say, this is in the agreement, and I would check the agreement and it wouldn't be in there. You guys might be surprised to hear this, but the agreement, I believe, was written up on ChatGPT.
Okay.
I think that's a bit of that going around over there. Hey, so
Certainly, yes.
But well, with that, like the audience is asking always about transparency and balance for business secrecy and NDAs. People are asking this sort of stuff on the internet. We even saw a couple other people just like sort of asking questions straight out online. How do you feel about that sort of, and having to? Do you feel you sort of have to answer that public grilling as soon as you put something up?
I mean, if you're asking in regards to him, I think the way he goes about the social media isn't the way to go. I think being as professional as you can be with people and answering what you can, when you can, is the best. And if not, just got to be respectful about it. Like some people were asking me about this situation before I could say anything, answered what I could, and then respectfully declined the rest. I don't understand. And I brought this up with him as well. Like the social media stuff, it's a bit amateur. like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
way he speaks to people.
yeah.
So it's more of a, I think as well, like, do you feel that people need to know a lot of, like, wrestling at the end of the day is a show, and what you present to them is on the night and the publicity leading up to it. With all these questions, do people really need to know the ins and outs? Do you know what I mean? Like, um,
Yeah,
is that
all
important? Like
these people are
nowadays,
asking.
you've got people who are literally, if you talk on a bigger scale, their job is to talk about the financial and the business and stuff like that. Do you personally think it's really necessary for everyone to know in Australian wrestling, oh, what's happening at this company behind, to set things up? Do you know what I mean? Do you think that's an important part of wrestling now, or do you think that it's gone too far?
I think it's important if you're an insider, but the fans asking for business plans and stuff like that, it's kind of like fans don't need to know that.
No.
But it's also the way the business is, though. Like WWE, they're always releasing financial reports, and there's always talks from AEW about how much they're paying X wrestler, and Meltzer and all that. They're reporting on the business side of wrestling, so I understand the curiosity, I guess, but
Yeah.
it seems weird to ask a startup about all these things, about what's their business plan and what's their finances and all that. Like,
Yeah, because people are
but
like business, geniuses, and they need to know so they can tell whether it's going to pan out or not. Yeah.
yeah, but alternatively, like ACW does kind of bring it on itself as well, because it's like, oh, we're doing this for the business and we're going to pay guys more than anyone else. So of course that's going to breed curiosity.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, well, what's next for All Star Wrestling then? What's next, Mitch?
We're still going to operate. We're still going to do regionals. I think I feel comfortable saying that we probably will be back in Sydney at some point. So if any of our Sydney fans are watching this, I'm sure All Star will be back. Just as I mentioned at the start of this, I'm burned out. I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I'm going to do our regional circuit and then see where it goes from there. But I say All Star will be back in Sydney at some point.
Good to hear. Good to hear. And we always say more opportunities for people is, always good. So,
Yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
and I hope you can get back up to like full operational speed in the future, mate.
Oh, I'm sure I will. It just takes a lot of time and effort, but that'll come back. It'll come back.
Yeah.
Awesome. Love to hear it.
Well, Mitch, thanks for joining us. It was great to hear from you and like hear your side of things. Is there anything else you want to add, man? This is like the platform, your platform. Is there anything else you want to add while you're here, bro?
No, I think we've covered it quite well. I guess the only thing I would say, not trying to disparage ACW or say that people should stay away from ACW, just giving my side of the story. That's what's happened to me. I've got friends over there. They're very happy with it. They're very excited about it. So I guess the only thing I would really want to say at the end is just play it by ear and see how it pans out before, everybody thinks it's going to be the greatest thing ever. I have
Well,
friends that subscribe to that feeling, and I've told them the same thing. Just see how it plays out.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. And everyone will get a chance to hear it play out because you've had your say now. And later on the program, I think Hassan's going to drop by and have his say. So it's going to be up to everyone to sort of like hear what everyone has to say and then sort of decide for themselves, I think.
Yeah,
And,
that's the way to do it, I think.
yeah,
You got my side, you'll get
that's
his
it.
side. Truth is somewhere in the middle, I'm sure.
That's it. And we'll read between the lines and let everyone decide for themselves, I think. I really appreciate you coming on, Mitch. And yeah, I can't wait to catch up with you again. And yeah, hopefully you're not packing away a ring this time, looking to get out of the state. But yeah, it'd be good to see you, even if I catch up with you in New South Wales, mate.
Yeah, for sure. I'd like that.
Thanks,
Appreciate
man.
it.
Lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you guys.
Well, there's Mitch's side of the story. A bit later, we'll have the ACW owner operator Hassan with his side of the saga. But for right now, just wanted to take some time to talk about the WSW tour that is about to hit the East Coast, not the West Coast.
Yeah, shout out to Adrian. He's been doing it a long time, and so yeah, we're probably gonna check out a couple of those live viewings they're doing on YouTube. So we're gonna watch along. So if you want to join us or have us natter in your ear while you're watching World Series Wrestling, you can hear Don's insights and yeah, well, who knows? And
but yeah, no, it's really cool. WSW has been running for a long time. They do the short tours, bring in internationals, getting guys a chance to, like a lot of Aussie guys, to work with the internationals or even work on the same shows as internationals. So it does boost Australian wrestling 100%. If you're in Adelaide, Friday, March 15th, they're in Hindmarsh at the Adelaide Entertainment Centre. If you're in Melbourne, you get 2 chances to watch the World Series Wrestling.
both sold out.
That's it. Well, yeah, if you haven't got your tickets, it's too late. You've missed out.
You've botched it.
Yeah, Saturday, May 16th and Sunday, May 17th. And if you're in Sydney, they are at the Panthers Penrith on Monday, May 18th. So
yeah, I've got peak Friday night and you're busy Friday night with family business. So there's a good chance we'll be getting around it Saturday, Sunday and Monday. Fuck, we'll be busy next Monday night. That's my Monday ruined next week.
That's it for sure. And now I guess we're
Well,
on to...
speaking of ruined, let's hear what Hassan has to say, the owner of Australian Championship Wrestling, and his side of the story. Well, with us here finally is Hassan, the owner, operator of Australian Championship Wrestling, in his first public appearance since Current Affairs, shall we say, Hassan?
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Yeah, and like, should we get straight into that, mate, with the spicy memes?
So, like, I'm a troll, and I love being a troll online.
We haven't noticed.
Yeah, I think you will probably see it in the ACW post as well. I do love to troll. So, it's something I've done a while back. So there was this guy who was trying to, get on my nerve, and I was just trolling the heck out of him, and he just blasted it everywhere. So pretty much like that time it was COVID. There was not much stuff to do, so media got in. They made it bigger than what it was, and then pretty much like they made it seem like I was packing my bags and leaving. My lease was over in 2 weeks anyways, so that was that. And then I've got gay friends. There's people that work in my other businesses that are gay. I've got no problem with them. And then when this whole thing happened, they were just laughing about the whole thing. And then he's like, say, hey, like, my friend was like, say, we don't mean that, right? I'm like, say, no, I don't blame that on you guys. Like, it's got nothing to do with you guys. It's just like media. And then there's the other guy.
Beat up.
Huh?
Bit of a beat up, you reckon?
Yeah, I guess like look, the other guys that brought it up this time, they just wanted to be relevant. They saw like, okay, ACW's got some steam, and ever since I posted about like me doing defamation thing against them, they pretty much bailed out. So if you really didn't mean anything bad about it, why would you bring it up in something that doesn't really matter? Because wrestling got nothing to do with kebab shops. So,
Yes.
Well, let's speak about the wrestling. Let's speak, how did we get here, in your words, the genesis of ACW? How did it come about in your mind? What's the game plan, or have you pivoted since you started?
Do you have time? If you have time, then
Mate,
I'll pretty much tell you
we
my
have
story.
all the time in the world for your first public appearance in the Australian wrestling scene. I'll give you the tip, eh?
I appreciate it. So it's like when I was 19, I came to this country. My dad gave me $1,000 and said, like, this is your $1,000. Go study. I hated studies. I still hate studies, right? And I always thought, like, there is no need for you to study to be where you need to be. Like, education is important, but it's only up to a certain point. After school, you don't really need it. College, okay. You don't really need university. And I was paying so much money. So to the point where I was homeless for 3.5 years. Almost all 3 years, yeah. That was by choice. So when I first came here, I had no friends. I was like back home, I had like hundreds of friends. Every time I was to go out, I would have like the first time when I came here, right? 160 people at the airport saying goodbye. Stuff. And then, sorry.
Someone wanting to get signed?
No. Give me 1 second. It's my wife, the seller.
That's important.
Yeah.
It's the wife, man. Take your minute. Like, I'm married myself. Don't ignore the calls from the wife. Don't do that.
Especially over the wrestling. Hey, yeah,
Yeah,
but that's
no,
one of the
no,
lessons we can pass on.
So pretty much like back then when I came here, I was pretty much by myself. So I had my uncle with me, but I tried to be independent. I wanted to do my own thing, and I just wanted to be out there by myself. So the big part of like being by yourself is you're very lonely. You don't know what's going to happen next, what's where to do next. And I always love wrestling, right? I've been a WWE fan since like 97, 96, like as far as I can remember. Like the first thing I saw was Triple H on the getting a sledgehammer and then breaking Undertaker's bike.
Yeah,
That was my first introduction. The wrestling didn't really got my attention. It was the actual fun side of it, right?
the pageantry and the showmanship. Yeah.
Yeah. So pretty much like I would say when I was homeless, I wouldn't have a place to live. So I would always be outside, and that's how I network with people. I would go out there and say, hey, like say, are you free? Let's hang out. Like say 8 out of 9 people would say no, they're busy. There's one guy that would say, yeah, I'm free. Let's hang out. So that's kind of how I built my business network. And I tried wrestling, and it was pretty bad. So I was working like almost 100 hours a week. I was working out, so I was kind of in shape back then. But then 100 hours work, gym, and then I wasn't really eating well because I couldn't afford it. And then I had my university, my exams, my assignments, homeworks, everything else. So I wasn't really cut for it. So I thought, like, you know what? I don't want to do half-ass job. I'll just leave. I'll quit. And I
Okay.
quit. And I always thought, like, there's some way I can come back in this, but maybe not as a star. I mean, no one's going to pay money to see me, but I could come back into this in such a way where I can make it into a business. And I always love business. I always wanted to do business since I was like 6, 7 years old. I used to sell Pokemon cards in school and stuff like that.
Oh man, if you still had some of those Pokemon cards now, you'd be
Yeah,
set. You'd be
like
set for life.
go tell that to my dad. He used
Yeah.
to sell it's just papers. Like I would have made him $1 million right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I always wanted to come back to business. So pretty much like after all of that, like, I got my business experience and everything like that. I've been traveling overseas in short, where like once I've been traveling overseas a couple of times, I realized that all the other businesses that I have here, they were just running by itself. I really didn't have to be there. So I thought, like, you know what? Maybe now is the time for me to run a wrestling company. I wanted to do it before back in COVID 2020. I was thinking like, okay, now's the best time to do it. I had contracts with a lot of stadiums, a lot of venues back then, and boom, there's COVID. I'm like, okay, maybe now's not the right
Yeah.
time.
No, definitely not during COVID. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So after COVID, I got into crypto, which was the dumbest thing I've ever done.
Oh.
I sold one of my business. I invested every single cent in it, and pretty much the next morning I lost it all.
Oh, that hurts.
Yeah, I got rug pulled, and I'm like saying, shit, like, this is really bad. And then I kept trying and trying. I really didn't get much in there, so wasted 1 year in it. And then I'm like saying, wrestling is still there. I have all these storylines that I made. It's already in my head since like 10, 15 years ago, right? And you'll see it like come to life as we progress. So that was then. And then, like once I started traveling, like I said, like, I saw like I could free up my time. So now my time is almost say 90% of my day is free. And I'm doing this 110% at the
Awesome.
moment. Yeah. So a good friend of mine, Aaron, he pretty much told me like, hey, do you want to come to a wrestling show? I'm like, so I'm busy right now. And then he went there and he told me like, say, man, that was shit. I had literally walked out of the place. Say, if anyone's going to do it right, it's going to be you. And then
Okay.
I told him like, say, look, if I were to do wrestling, it's going to cost at least $1 million to do it. And he's like, so now you just buy a ring and, get some good stuff. I'm like, say, look, I don't want to do it like that. Then there's going to be no difference between me and everybody else.
100%.
And I know a lot of people in business. So it doesn't matter what I do. There's always going to be a lot of eyes on it because there's a big percentage of people that want to see me fail. And there's also a big percentage of people that want to see like, okay, what can you do with it when you're going? We're going to help you, but you got to do it right.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm like saying, I don't want to do it that way. And then pretty much 24 November, I realized like, I can do this right now. So the first thing I did was register the company, speak to my lawyer, and get all the paperwork done. Took like almost 7 to 8 months or more, get everything papered, like trademarks, everything up and running, and that's when I said, like, you know what, let's go, let's do something. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and then what was the sort of arrangement with All-Star Wrestling, if we can get into that, if that was came after, because that's sort of what I guess is
Also
the
was
next
also
chapter of
was
the
never
story.
part of the plan. It just happened. So, like, I did offer to buy them before. Like, I think it was a year ago. So I was traveling. I would say end of 24 when I opened the company, when I formed the corporation. So I was traveling around. I was like going around everywhere to see, like, what's wrestling out there, because I had literally no idea who's who and what are the top brands out there. And the first company that, like, caught my eye was MCW.
Mm-hmm.
They are the best, I would say, in the country.
Yep.
Sorry, I take that back. They're the best, but also World Series wrestling. I went there because I love WWE. All the ex-WWE stars are there. So, I thought, like, like the first thing I should do is go over here.
Yep.
And MCW, I would say, like, they would be tied up because MCW does more shows. So in a way, like, what they do is really amazing. So I went to MCW, then I went to IWA. I went to PWA as well because
Yep.
I trained at PWA like 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So in Sydney. And I really wasn't, I would say I wasn't cut for it. So I went to IWA. I went to I went to All Star as well. I went to All Star Wrestling to see Austin Aries, and we
Yep.
pretty much bonded straight away from that show. And like I didn't want to speak much on that show because I'm like saying, I'm not here for business. I came to see the show, but later on we connected, right? So there's that, and then there's a few other shows I went there, and like just like Aaron, I just walked out because it was horrible.
Yep. Yep.
Well, with All Star Wrestling, the way it came about was um, I got a text message from Keegan on what's that called, Instagram, and he's
Yep.
like, "Hey man, I want to meet up. Like let's talk about something." And I told him like, "Say, look, let's meet up. I like to meet face to face, right? When you're in front of someone or you see their eyes, you know what their eyes tell a story. So this guy is probably the best guy I've met, like out of everybody else. He literally came here and he said like, "Hey, look, Mitch is the owner of All Star Wrestling. He's going to be closing doors on the April 11th show. So after that, it's goodbye. Like there's no more All Star Wrestling. All these guys, all my friends, we don't have nowhere to go." And he's like saying, "Can you like do something because these guys are really good?" So this entire time we were there, right? His wife, his kid came in. He never mentioned one word about him. I already told him like, "So I know everything about you because I was doing my research, and he looked pretty cool, like with his whole gimmick and stuff that he does, like fighting the crowd. I like that stuff as well.
Yep.
But
You're an
he pretty
attitude era kid. That's what you said when you started watching and you enjoyed it. That's attitude era. So like,
yeah.
you can tell that's what you dig. Yeah.
So pretty much like Keegan told he pretty much like in a way he sold everybody but himself. And then he told me like, say, would you have time to meet these other guys? I'm like, say, yeah, sure. Like I'm always down for a conversation. And then when I met the other guys, I literally told them, say, man, you guys are so grateful that you have a friend like him,
Mm-hmm.
because I have never seen someone that talks so much about others but himself.
Yep.
So
Yeah, no, good bloke, Keegan.
yeah. So we had this conversation, and then with all the other guys, they're all saying like, Mitch is gonna close down and blah blah blah. And I said like, look, just if he's gonna close down, tell him I'll buy it off him. I'll pay him something for his Instagram and Facebook, pretty much, and then at least he's going home with something, and then we can make a story out of it. They said like, I'll go speak to Mitch and see what happens. So when Mitch first came here, uh, he pretty much he fell in love with this place, and he's like saying, like let's go, like it's a good idea. And then he wanted to. So I told him like, say, would you want to sell it? He's like, say, I wouldn't sell it. It would probably be in the tens and thousands. I'm like saying, I'm not gonna pay that much for that. So we came up. Not we. I came up with the idea. Say like, look, what if we do this? Instead of you just closing shop and leaving, it's gonna leave a lot of fans upset. They're not gonna like it. The boys are not gonna like it because they don't have a place to be. What if we say that ACW bought All Stars, All Star Wrestling, and we rebranded, and All Stars is ACW. It's got nothing to do with Mitch or All Star Wrestling.
Yeah.
So I said like, we're gonna do that. You're gonna be, and he made me write in the contract that say, hey, like, if I were to, once ACW is up and running full stream, I want to work in this office. And I'm gonna say, sure, you can do whatever you want. And then before that, Keegan literally told me, hey man, like, Mitch is a good friend of mine. Like, would you want to have him on board? Like, get him as part of the show. And I said, like, yeah, like, let's talk to him and then we can do something. So that's pretty much how he came about coming to the office.
Yeah, sick.
Once, like, I told him, like, saying, look, I like to do stuff the right way and I want to get a lawyer. And, like, my lawyer, she's going to write everything up and all that, but it's going to cost $3,500. I'm like, say, we can split the cost. And I'm like, because you're part of it, you have to pay as well. So he didn't want to do that. So I said, like, all right, you know what? I'll speak to my best friend, ChatGPT. We tell them all the, what we want in it, and we just put it through. So we made a ChatGPT contract. We read it, like, in front of it, like, we didn't read it. Like, I don't really like to read. I like to just play the audio and we're just listening to it. There's good speakers up here. It's very easy to hear it. Pretty much once we read it, like, and everything, and he signed it after 2 days, I guess. And then, like, all these other stuff that I've been hearing is like, so okay, so he's what's going to get 30% profit from all the events I do. And I wasn't even really using his name, but it's just like, Keegan told me, hey, get this guy involved. It was something I was doing, like, out of favor, because he's been through a lot, emotionally, personally, all this stuff, financially. So I thought, like, what, like, if you help someone, you're not gonna, pretty much, like, nothing bad's gonna happen to you, right? If you get this guy on his 2 feet, God's gonna give you more. So I looked at it that I didn't really have to give him 30%. I didn't have to give nothing.
No.
I have to do all these All-Star name. The ACW name was good enough to get enough traction as it was. I was getting 500,000-600,000 views every 30 days. So, I wasn't doing anything different. So we do this thing where, like, we signed the contract, and I told him, like, say, hey, if you're gonna keep changing your mind, let me know now. Then we don't have to do this. He signed the contract, and then, like, while we're sitting in the office, I told him, like, saying, after this show, we're gonna paint the ring white. We're gonna make it look pretty. We're gonna get new canvas, new side skirts, turnbuckle pads, new mats, because the mats was pretty bad. The guys kept complaining about it. They got hurt. So we were gonna do all of that. And then as the show, like, as we were preparing for the show, he didn't really help me get any talent. So his work was to pretty much, like, facilitate talents, because he knows them more than I do.
Mm-hmm.
And then speak to the venue, but the venue wouldn't, like, I've asked him multiple times, like, what day can we go in? And then, like, get the lighting guys to look at it, the video guys to look at it. There's no response. He's responding to me at 4 p.m. after a whole day. So I was kind of getting the shits. And then on the other hand, the boys were telling me, like, say, hey, do you know that this guy is talking bad about you everywhere? I'm like, say, no, like, why would he talk bad about me? Like, say, like, oh, just letting you know. So I didn't really put much into it. So up until the time where we had a photo shoot over here in the office, and the tag team titles were there, and he kind of like told one of the guys, like, say, who approved, like, the belts to be there. And I'm like saying, in my head, I was kind of pissed off. And I say, that's a very disrespectful way to say things. Like, why do we need your approval? Like, if you're a part of this, you should be happy that this is over here. So that it all stemmed with that. And then pretty much he was telling me stuff like, say, if I have to get the ring, the All-Star Wrestling ring, I have to pay him $800, and then $900 something. And then other guys were telling me that he told him that, say, hey, I'm going to charge Hassan more money, but with other promotions that I'm renting it out to, I'll charge him the usual rate. So when I saw this stuff, it kind of pissed me off. I'm like saying, all right, you want to be like that? I ordered my own ring. I ordered a brand new ring. Like, I'd rather pay 10 grand to someone than get ripped off, right? It's all in the principle. And I also told them, say, look, whoever he's renting the ring out to, I'll tell him, like, say, come get this for free. You don't have to pay me for it.
So on that topic of spite, do you still have the tag team titles?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We got some plans for it for the show.
Oh,
And,
really?
yeah. There's plans for the belts, and we're gonna retire the belts after the show. We're gonna give it back to him. Like,
After the show,
I'm pretty, yeah,
after the show, you're going to hand them back.
yeah.
Fair
Give
enough.
it to him, and, like, you can get your belts back. whatnot. So like because all stars, I'm making new belts. I've already designed them, and
Yeah.
they look a lot better than what they do look now. So we're gonna use those ones. So yeah, I was gonna give him back.
Yeah, fair enough.
Fair enough. As I said, there's a big question being like thrown around $20,000 on production. Is that like that's a lot for any show?
Like, look, it might be a lot for any show, but in the grand scheme of things, with what I'll do with ACW, is nothing. So like this is like just good enough for that venue, what we can fit in. There's no pyrotechnics, there's no fire. Like I was gonna do pretty much like what AEW or WWE does with ACW, like do it in a bigger scale. Because like ACW, I don't want it to like I've been saying from day one, I'm not a wrestling company. I'm a media, marketing, and tech company. We develop technology, we do media, we do marketing, but we do it with the source of professional wrestling, right? So when you come to an ACW event, you're not coming for wrestling. That will be a part of it, but you're coming there. Imagine you go to say the Bathurst race or Summer Nats or Formula One. You're going to the suites. You don't really go there because you can see the race better. You don't do that. You go there because of the people that are going to be there. So ACW is kind of like that. You're coming in for the networking. You're coming in to see like an experience, and you're going to meet. By the time you leave the night, you're going to know a lot more people than you did when you came in through those doors.
Yeah.
Okay, so
It is a networking event.
but the production as well, is that like are you hiring that much gear, or are you purchasing that much gear for future use?
Yeah. Is
So
it like
the
an
first
initial
one, I'm
startup
renting
purchase?
everything out. The
Yeah.
first one, I'm going to rent everything, and then once I see it, I'm going to know what I need in the future. So I've already ordered LED screens. I've already ordered lighting rigs, and then lighting stuff and rigs. So that's pretty much like a business in a business. So when I say the media part in ACW, we're pretty much going to rent out all these equipments to other companies, wrestling shows, corporate. I do have, like a lot of corporate clients that would be renting this off me very easily, right?
Yeah.
So the
Like
equipments
corporate
are going to,
events.
yeah. So the equipments are going to pay for itself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
And
like
then,
for that, if you're obviously hiring it for now and then purchasing later, but if you're looking at cameras and staging and lighting rigs and LED boards, that stuff's all cost a pretty penny. It's not just someone's projector that they've borrowed or a couple
Yeah.
of lights on a stand. It's you're going for full production, so that's not an outrageous number. It's no, I mean, don't get me wrong. For someone who has no money, that's an outrageous number. But to do it properly, this is not an outrageous number.
no,
Yeah.
like I always say this, like scared money makes no money. You gotta invest first.
Mm-hmm.
Before people can invest in you, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if I'm telling you I'm the big deal, I'm the best thing going on, and you come in and it looks like horse shit or dog shit, you're not gonna say like, I'm not buying that,
Yep.
right? I'm gonna like, for example, the All-Star event, like a night to remember. It's almost just like, we increased the venue capacity today, so it's at the moment it's 40% sold out. We haven't
Yep.
like advertised the tickets anywhere, and we have done a $10,000 gate.
Haven't advertised a match.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't advertised the match. We sold $10,000 worth of tickets,
Yep.
and that's about 110 people.
Yep.
Well, I tell you what, if it's scared money you're chasing up, you've come to the right scene, Hassan.
I think, like, look, predominantly wrestling fans are not my target audience because, like, the wrestling fans, like, I'm a wrestling fan, but I'm a casual fan, right? I'm not gonna follow every single stuff that's happening in there. I'll only follow the good stuff, right? So I would watch WWE. I don't watch AEW as much because we don't really have much access to it.
Mhm.
So if I did, I would. I watched TNA when I was a kid, and like those companies that people watch it, they're not your usual wrestling fan, right? Like
Yep.
you don't go to WWE event and pay $30,000 front row seats because you're a wrestling fan. You go there for the experience of it.
Mhm.
You go there because, okay, if I pay $30,000, I'm going to be in a room full of a bunch of entrepreneurs over there, other business people that I could leverage and do something good.
Mhm.
Like I went to WWE last year and AEW this year. I met some business contacts, and I wasn't expecting that. But those guys are in the same industry I'm in, so in
Yeah.
future we can do business together.
So, but
Well,
real quick,
man, sounds like a man after TKO's heart.
yeah, definitely. But I've got to say though, there's still obviously access for the general wrestling fan. Like, it's not like you're pricing them out, or like there is
No,
that
no.
section where there's people going to be networking, but there still will be people can get in and watch great wrestling.
Yeah. So there would still be all that. So you gotta do it in such a way where you cater for everybody,
Yes.
not just like only one section of the crowd.
Mhm.
Because the whole thing is for the whole goal is to make Australia better.
Yes.
Like I go back to the time when I say I came here when I was 19. I was homeless. I don't want the wrestlers to go through that. Wrestling is difficult on its own as itself. You don't have to go out there, do all this stuff, and then you come back.
Mhm.
It hurts. It's not easy, and
Yeah.
especially like when you can do. If you had the platform in your home country, why would you go elsewhere, right? Like
Yeah.
for me, Australia is my home, and I would die for this place.
Mhm.
It's
Oh,
like it's
beautiful.
my way of giving back, and it's a great way to give back. Like I would say, like the tickets are going to be fair, like reasonably priced, but there's going to be tickets like we sold tickets, about 20 tickets for $500 each
Yeah.
for the All-Star Wrestling. All-Star, not sorry, All-Star Wrestling. I keep saying that All-Stars and Night to Remember. So the top tier tickets are $500. We sold them.
Yeah.
Well,
Nice.
speaking of catering to everyone, you were showing us before $60,000 worth of merch. What merch that looks like?
$60,000, that's cost price, but when you sell it in street value, that could potentially be about $250,000.
Well, there you go. So everyone will be decked out in ACW gear for the next year.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's gonna be like a lot of different merch coming up. So I'm not gonna be only advertising this for wrestling fans. There's gonna be a lot of influencer marketing involved. Say, sorry.
Speaking, no, you're right, dude. I was going to say, speaking of influencers, your business is still getting a little bit of flack off characters like Birdman. You know, um, still the fans are giving you like curry about over reliance on AI. How will you treat the community moving forward? Do you still use AI as much as you have to respond to the people that have been getting on you in the future, mate?
So like AI would be a big part of it, and it's a big part of everything I do.
Yep.
Time is money, right? You're not gonna waste time and then like sit there and like waste time. Like I don't have the time to waste. Like if you're not moving forward, you're stuck. You don't stand still. You go backwards because time is going forward, and you gotta be up to date with time, right?
Yeah.
If you're not gonna do it, somebody else is gonna do it, and then that person's gonna be having a better leverage than you are. So I'll give you an example with one of my businesses where we use AI for everything, Claude, and we haven't used Claude before. We used to rely on ChatGPT. So now we started using Claude. So our competitor, they started implementing Claude in everything 6 months ago, and they're pretty much 30% better than we are. So if we were not in those, and these are numbers, right? Statistics, they don't lie. Numbers
Yeah.
don't lie. So if we didn't implement what all these up, I would have probably, done better than them. But I was like, say, oh, humans, we are scared of change. We don't want to change. We feel like, okay, this is something that's been moving, the wheel spinning, let it spin, don't stop it. But sometimes you gotta put a barrier to it. You stop it, you fix it, and you move it again. That's what people need to come to sense with.
Yeah,
Yeah, fair
if your
enough.
competitor's using a tool that you have access to that makes their job easier and
Yeah,
pushes them in front of you, you'd have to have at least attempt to access the tool and see if it
Mhm.
improves for yourself. Like that's common sense.
It does. It does. Like even with like say we're not saying about writing storylines with AI. Like say for example, I've got about I think 1,400 emails so far. I haven't run a show. I didn't ask people like say, hey, do you want to sign up for this newsletter and stuff? But the way I pushed the marketing, and that was all helped with AI, was in such a way that people were kind of in a way to they have to put their like email addresses, their phone numbers, like the whole $500 giveaway thing with the name for the show. With that, I got like 700 emails over there. So I'm pretty much paying $500 to name a show and 700 emails
Yeah,
and that post had like 30,000 reach or something.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
That's
you
a lot
got
of
like
emails.
what 500 emails, 1,600 followers. or something, something like that, or
I think like Facebook, Instagram is like 3,000 followers.
there you go, 3,000 followers. These are all numbers someone would like to have without even running a show. And speaking of those sort of metrics, have you seen from the Australian wrestling scene, like other promoters reach out to you, other wrestlers? There was rumors about you wanting to buy other companies around Australia and stuff like that.
I still do like, but like not a company that doesn't really stand for nothing. I still want to like get like the best of every city. That way, it's like a hub you have. Like I'm not when I say buy it, I would pay the money to take over, but I'm not gonna be like say I'm not gonna micromanage stuff. They can do whatever they want because like what I've realized is like half the promoters that opened up wrestling, they were like wrestlers themselves before,
Yeah.
and then they opened up because they were not booked right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they opened up because they wanted to book themselves up there. But
Yeah.
there was a
There's
reason.
60 companies because 59 people can't agree with each other.
Yeah, I'm one of them too. Number six.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. So like, I do wanna like buy something like maybe something in Perth, Melbourne, Brisbane, Adelaide. Yeah, something like along those routes, and maybe something in Northern Territory. Like if we do a show in Northern Territory, I don't think like it would be something where we would charge the fans money. It would just be like, hey, we are here for you for free. You don't have to pay us nothing for it. We will get them. We will make the money back from sponsors, advertisements, other stuff that we're gonna do. So we don't really have to charge money for the fans there because I don't think fans in Northern Territory are like able to pay a lot of money for shows, but they still deserve something good over there.
There's the I see the point of that. You're gonna run into so like at the moment the Northern Territory, they have a very small company. It's just guys who started up and created their own little community there, and they like. Do you worry that like doing this sort of thing? Are you worried you're gonna hurt their? The only reason there's wrestling up there is a guy from Perth actually moved up there and met some people and started up the company. And then he actually moved back to Perth, and they continued on. This is just a group of guys who are essentially creating their own culture up there. Do you worry that you're gonna like make it harder for them, or what's your thought process
if
with that
anything,
kind of
I would
thing?
want to work with them because
Okay.
you need to know what the locals like, right? Because I've never been to Northern Territory. I wouldn't know what the locals like.
Yeah.
So if anything, I would want them on board. That's why I would say like, hey, do you want to sell your company for X amount of dollars? You run it. You're more passionate about it, but you're just gonna work as a branch for ACW, right?
Okay.
So that way we can still have the small shows, and they once when they're running the shows, they're now you're running the shows and you're getting some profits from it as well, right? You're gonna get some salary working for it as opposed to working for free.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the bigger side of things, like you know, with the sponsors I can bring, and I can get international sponsors as well. I don't think like I'm not saying bad about anybody or anything like that. Like I don't think the other promotions can do that. If they
No,
did,
I
they
know,
would be
I
done.
know. Like I've been told not to ask for sponsorship at other promotions.
No, the first thing I did was reach out to sponsors, and like
Yeah.
the first like before even ACW was a thing, I already spoke to these guys. I already knew who these guys are, and I said like, hey, I'm gonna do this, and they're like my friends, right? I told them I need your support, and
Yeah.
it's not a yes or no. Like I said, like I need it from you guys.
Yeah.
So that's the relationship I have with the people that are kind of sponsoring me, and I do the same for them. So when they have something like me and my friends, we pretty much help each other out, right? And that's how everyone needs to work out. Like you help each other out together, everybody achieves more, right? If you're gonna be like you're the only guy going to the top, everyone at the bottom they're gonna pull you down. But if you're going up and you're lifting everybody else with you, guess what? They're all gonna push you upwards because they feel like, okay, if this guy wins, we all win.
Yeah.
That's right, and that's a good long-term vision for ACW. But in saying that, does it involve long-term when you're talking about these exclusive contracts and people only wrestling for ACW and stuff like that? Do you think that's do you think that's helping or hurting the scene, or what are these exclusive contracts involve?
So it does help, but it does hurt at the same time, right? So you got to look at the greater good. Like I can tell you, there's a lot of companies out there that shouldn't be out there, right?
I totally agree, but
We've
like, that's
we've
not.
made a list. Yeah.
Yeah, we've been making lists all over the place. Hey,
So there's a lot of companies that shouldn't be out there. There's also a lot of wrestlers. They should just, sit in the crowd like I do and watch the show.
yeah, that's fair enough.
Like
I disagree.
if you're going to be out there, you're doing what you're doing a half-ass job, presenting something like that. You're going to make, say, like for the first time ever, if I bring a fan, right? Okay, so the 100 people that already bought tickets for ACW, I would say 60 of them 40 of them has never ever been to a wrestling show.
Yeah.
This would be the first thing. So
Yeah.
if I bring a like an audience, right, that's the first time ever they come into a wrestling show,
Mm-hmm.
they come into a hall and they say there's no lights, there's nothing there. The guy that's wrestling who he's meant to look up to,
Mm-hmm.
and he goes like, oh, I can beat that guy,
Yeah.
he wouldn't come back. If you see, like, say, the apron's dirty, the canvas is dirty, you're not gonna come back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can tell you he doesn't. Hey, he doesn't come back. Hey.
No, they wouldn't
Yeah.
no.
No, there's definitely a difference between a company that's trying to put on the best wrestling show and the company that's just trying to keep their friends happy or
Yeah.
or someone who's it's when you go to the shows you can tell the difference. And if there's a way to push through that and push past that, then that's a good thing.
If you want to do business with someone, you should never be friends with them, because it's gonna come in between your friendship and business.
Business. You definitely. I've learned that myself through business that
And like
it doesn't work well.
in saying that, the audience has been pretty vocal about transparency. How do you balance the need for secrecy and the NDAs and the needing to prosecute the marks, and the desire to make them feel like they're part of the journey and in the know? Like, where do you kind of draw the line, Hassan? Like, we've seen you draw the line a few times online.
I would say, just wait and find out. There's no rush. Say, for example, I'm not gonna come to your house and say, hey, what's your bank login details? Like, it's just like asking for someone's bank business
Where's the
address.
business plan? Show us the business plan, Hassan?
Yeah.
The business plan, then everyone else would do it, right?
Right,
You don't go
that's
to
it.
McDonald's and say, hey, what's the secret to your,
The 11 herbs and spices.
yeah, you don't go to KFC
Yeah.
and have that stuff. What are you asking me?
Yeah. No, there's definitely a point where it's sort of like just enjoy the show. You don't need to know the nuts and bolts. But the flip side of that is you've literally
Enjoying
got
the
shows like
build-up.
Unreal now for WWE.
Say that again.
So the flip side of that is you've literally got shows like Unreal for the WWE. They are literally taking people backstage and showing them the nuts and bolts. Although most of that is for the show, it's not complete truth, but like there's this blurring of the lines, and I think maybe, or do you agree that maybe people think they should see things that they don't need to see?
Look, I would say, like, if you give them like 80%, they will come back for the 20%, right? So if you give everything in one go, they're gonna be like, okay, what's next?
Every time.
If you give them like just a little bit, they're gonna keep coming back for more.
Yeah.
And like Unreal is a great show. I love it, actually. Like, I'm a wrestling fan at heart. Like, I love seeing this stuff.
Well, I hate to ask it, mate, but what happens if ACW fails?
What would you ask that? But
Everyone's asking.
It won't.
Everyone's kind of like nudging you. Like, everyone kind of wants to see the big man fail.
Okay, so I'll probably change it around and ask you this: what happens if I fail? Right. So there's someone from Melbourne I met. He's a very famous wrestler, and he's not wrestling as much anymore. And he told me something. Say, hey, I love what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing, but understand this: there's going to be a lot of people trying to drag you down because you're doing something very, very different, and it's going to rub a lot of people the wrong way. And I want to say I'm sorry on behalf of everybody that you're going to face all this stuff. And in my head, I'm like, saying, man, this guy's crazy. Like, well, what's he on about? Right. And then he said, like, you're going to come to this stuff, but please, if that happens, just ignore them and don't do this ever again. Like, keep doing what you're doing and don't go, like, because the Australian championship, the Australian wrestling really needs you. If I didn't believe in it, I wouldn't have done it.
100%.
So there's gonna be only the the people that are talking crap about it are other promoters, other wrestlers that I wasn't gonna book in the first place anyways, right? So like
Yeah.
like these guys are talking bad, so it's like I don't care what they say, right? But in the future, let's say it gets to a point where I feel like, okay, I've had enough of these guys, I'm gonna quit, and I failed. Let's say I failed. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna still have my businesses that I have running. I'm gonna still have a good life. But what have you done to the Australian wrestling scene? You have killed it. So anyone after me that, like, if I fail, anybody else that wants to do it on this level of thing, they're gonna be like, say, man, this guy did so much stuff, and these people, when I'm appreciative of it. If people are telling me, hey, like, this is your first and last chance to impress others in wrestling, it goes both ways. Like, it's also your first and last chance to impress me. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and you tell me that, hey, like, not when I say you, I don't mean you guys. Like,
No, we get that. Yeah.
The marks.
Yeah, I'm not gonna sit here and you go tell me, someone that has never ever run a business in their life or has got zero idea how to run a business, you're not gonna tell me, say, hey, why are you having a merch truck? Why are you getting podcasts? All this stuff before you run a show. Those stuff is important. Like, if you see, like, once again, I'll go back to Formula One, Bathurst, all this stuff. You see the trucks going past, you feel like, okay, there's something going on. I gotta go. That's a walk, like it's a driving billboard.
Yep. You need to have things in place so that you're not just, we'll just see what happens. You're like, you need to line it all up, get all your ducks in a row, and then come at it full force.
TV approached me. I didn't approach them, right?
Yeah.
Television network came to me and said, like, hey, and there's quite a few of them. They said, like, hey, we love what you're doing, and we, like, but I have to invest in it as well to be a part of it. And I said, look, you don't have to pay me nothing. Like, let's do it. Like, let's get some guys out there. And if the Aussie wrestling fans, sorry, not fans, like, if the wrestlers, they don't want to be a part of it, I don't need them. I can get guys from the States. I can get guys from Canada, Mexico, Japan, you name it. There's so many options. It doesn't have to be, like, if you don't want to be a part of it, like, don't be a part of it. Yeah.
Well, I hope that it stays Australian centric, like Australian focused.
I hope so too. I do hope so. That's why we are gonna launch something very soon. You would learn about it in the next show. That we're gonna build something like. I might as well just sell it, man. We built so much.
Shit.
So we're gonna.
You're gonna drop it on the show?
Yeah.
We're gonna do something called the ACW Performance Lab. So pretty much, like, it's gonna be like a training ground where I call it lab because you're pretty much gonna test and trial and you build a star in there, right? And I want to have like a big time, I would say, ex-WWE guy that I would hire for 3 months to fly into Sydney and then take these classes for these guys. 3 months later, there's somebody else coming.
Yeah.
Not just ex-WWE, like pretty much anyone like that's been big, right?
Yes.
You gotta do that. Like, you gotta do something different. That's the only way people would remember what you did. No one's gonna care if you had a 5-star match, right? Like, people will say, like, okay, that was cool. But if you do something memorable, they're gonna remember you for the rest of their lives.
That's right.
This is true.
Well, speaking of memorable, can we shake a match out of you for the June 20th show?
Everything's up in the air, to be honest. Like, I had some match planned, and then we canceled them. Then there's something I've planned again. So I'll probably, like, announce the matches just the week before the show. But I'll tell you something. This year we're gonna have an event with ACW where pretty much it's gonna be like 5 or 6 Aussie wrestlers versus 5 or 6 internationals. I can give you that. Yeah.
Nice.
So it's like, we're gonna have like the best of Aussies versus the best of the world. Yeah. ACW, no borders.
No borders.
tell you what.
Shit.
All right, we're away. All right, Hassan, show us around the ACW headquarters.
Is my video working?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
You're
So
on it.
this is my room, which is like gonna be like the general manager room. It's pretty empty still. I got some furniture coming in.
So you're going to decorate it Vince style? Big T-Rex skull?
No, I love animals. I wouldn't do that.
There you
But
go.
like, it's probably gonna be some. I don't know. Like, I wouldn't put much stuff on the walls except for the belts.
Yep.
These are like all
Classic.
what's that called? Board games. Because once this plate is all done and dusted, we're gonna have, like, board games with the wrestlers. Something for fans to see. like, when they see the wrestling as a whole.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the wrestling ring. You can see
Nice.
from there.
Yeah, wrestling.
Gaming
down there.
TV, that's where we're going to do a lot of video games with the wrestlers. It's just something to get, like non-wrestling fans involved into the show.
Yes, more widespread appeal.
Boardroom, there's going to be more furniture at the back. We still haven't got them. That's the whiteboard.
You're going to let people walk all the way through this while the wrestling's taking place and mingle and stuff. So there'll be like catering and stuff. Is that what I'm sort of imagining?
We're not going to do much wrestling here. Like, I did want to do something, but maybe we're not going to do as much, right? But in the future, we might. You never know. Like, we might have some charity shows. Like, whatever I was going to do downstairs, I'm not going to really charge money from fans. It's just more like, like some rookie versus a pro, like where they can, like sharpen their stuff up. But now we made All-Stars, so we can just use that brand for that.
Yeah, Friday night fights, huh?
Yeah, so that's a green screen. I just literally put this here because I ordered extra chairs.
Yeah.
Tables here. That's not gonna stay
and
there. But
what's all this over here? What's all this?
that's all the merch. It took me 3 days to organize, pack, unpack, and put it over here with the help of my wife.
When you're saying all the merch, that's everything, is it?
Yeah, that's pretty much everything. These are the hoodies. Took the most space. These are the hoodies. These are pencil cases for kids. These
Hassan, can I ask you, is this AI?
Yeah, this is AI.
Yeah.
AI was used to design a lot of these, by the way.
Oh, it's a lot. People used to design their tattoos these days.
Man, AI is the future. If you're not gonna go to the future, you might as well, be a T-Rex on the wall.
I'd like to go to the future.
These are. I'll show you actually what's over here. Since we're doing a video.
Yeah.
I actually take great pride in this stuff because I love it myself. So these are all T-shirts. The T-shirts are the black ones. They kind of look like this.
And are these designed by your wife, yourself, and A1?
No, I designed them myself. But look, the logo is kind of like all on the shirt, right? So there's not much AI in this, but they all got the ACW tag in each and every single one of them.
Yeah. That's
Yeah. So that's why we had to make so many of them. Then these are all T-shirts. These are the hoodies. So one thing I hated in wrestling is like, the quality of the gear, like, the merch, they were crap.
Yeah.
So
falls apart in your washing machine.
this one, So this one, it looks really good. It feels good. It's a premium product. Because, like, the target audience for selling these are not just wrestling fans. You want to make it like a brand, like, Do You Even, and other one out there.
Yeah. And now, did I notice there was some belts over in the living room or something? Was that the living room?
Yes, I'll get to it.
Oh, sweet.
If you're in a rush,
show
I
us a
can
bit.
take that.
No, we're not in a rush at all, mate. If you want to show off some more merch, what
These
have you
are
got?
lanyards. White ones here. The black ones are over there. That's a bandana. We use it as a scarf or to cover your face. Whatever way you want to use it. These are key rings. And then these are pens.
Oh, nuts.
These are trading cards. Sorry, not trading cards, playing cards. Like, when you want to play a game.
Are they all got Tegan on them?
No, it's got no one on it.
Oh.
So these are like all protein shaker bottles. There's like, these bags.
Wow. The gym bags, yeah.
I wouldn't say, you can use that as gym bag. This is my favorite, which is beanie.
Oh, nice.
I made them similar to football style. So there's I gotta see where I put them. So like there's scarves with them as well. So you wrap the scarves around your neck and you have your beanies. Yep. So this is for charity, ACW Cares. So they're gonna be sold for like $10. Everything goes to charity. Yep. More T-shirts, and then this is the white T-shirt. Yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Like the black pencil case, white pencil case. Oh, these are school bags. All of these for kids. It's three or two different sizes.
Yeah, wow.
This is pillbox. It's targeted for wrestlers and people that are into fitness.
Did you say pillbox?
Yeah. There you go. Pillbox.
Pillbox, no.
Yeah, so you
I'm
can.
I'm gonna have to get one just so I've got like an ACW pillbox I can rip my little green out at fucking events. So
I made like 1,000 of these.
Oh mate, I'm getting one.
Now that's like the what's it called, the podcast area.
Yep.
These are where all the belts are. Once again, I designed it with AI, ChatGPT.
But
But
these
there
are
was a lot
real.
of-
Pick them up
Yeah,
so
these are
people
real.
can see these aren't AI. Pick them up so people can see they're not AI. Touch them with your hands, Hassan. There we
I'll
go.
probably put it like that. These
Yeah,
are heavy. This is
drape
like
it over.
almost 10 kilos.
What do you got? The was it the how many pounds of gold? 16 or something?
I'm not sure. Like, I want to call it the big black gold belt of Australia. So
Oh yeah.
this is like it's huge. Like when you put it on, one guy that would suit it is Stetzilla. He's massive, and the belt suits him. We tried it on him as well.
Well, he's gonna have to
Pikachu.
win it first.
Huh?
He's gonna have
you
to win it first.
Yeah. That's the tag team title.
That's the
This is-
ACW tag team title.
Yeah, ACW tag team title. So this is probably my favorite one. Women's title is getting built again because
Oh yeah.
this one broke, and also I don't like how this is a bit smaller, so it needs to be wider.
Yep.
That gets built. This is the continental title, which is pretty much like you can say like US or intercontinental.
Yeah.
This
The
room
workhorse
here,
belt.
yeah, that's pretty much the production room. So
Yeah.
and it's storing snacks for the time being.
Is that a belt over there as well? Is it?
Yeah, the tag belt.
Oh yeah, the other tag belt. Nice.
You can also see the ring from here.
See the ring. So you can see the ring from multi directions in that building, like it's
Yeah.
a well or something. Yeah.
Yeah, so you see it from both sides.
Oh, you don't have the truck around, do you, Hassan?
I do have it downstairs. I'll take you guys there.
Got to see the truck.
Hang on,
Make sure
my
that's
wife
not
is
AI.
sending me a text saying if I'm okay. So let me just
Oh,
respond
right, yeah.
to it.
Yeah,
Yes,
you haven't been
do
murdered.
that.
You're just in balls deep in a wrestling podcast. So,
It is actually fun, man. I love what you guys do.
Oh, thanks,
cheers,
man.
bro.
Let me see if I got my keys. Yeah.
Yeah, don't lock yourself out.
Yeah, don't lock don't lock yourself out.
I think once the fans, they come and attend the shows and stuff, see that sound, the tick, that's
Yeah.
the sound of the fire alarm. Sorry, the smoke alarm.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can buy some, good batteries once people buy the merch and come to the shows.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Please buy the merch. We need new batteries. Yeah.
And this is the ring. Now, is this the new ring?
No, so this is the 20-foot ring. So
Yeah.
I'll show you.
So
This is the lighting we have downstairs.
Oh,
These lights, they change colors, but I can't find the remotes for now, so it's red. I like red.
Yeah.
that's cool.
So this was part of this was in my plan. Going to be the setup for no lights, where we run shows here. I've got all these. Let me turn the lights. All these chairs over here.
Oh, wow.
These are pretty much like when you go to the backdrops.
Yep.
Yep.
So there's backdrops, there's tents, there's table covers, pretty much everything ACW branded, black and white.
Yep.
This, by the way, is the giveaway because it was a giveaway on our Instagram story. Someone took it, but I have a friend. He's got my other chair for the Brisbane show in Brisbane. So he lives in Brisbane, and she's like, "I'd rather get the Brisbane one." So maybe we can do a giveaway for you guys.
Oh,
So
There you go.
anyone watching your channel, if they want it, they can have it. All they have to do is comment. All the
Message
What do they
Hassan
call it?
and say how
no,
much you
no,
want.
it's for you guys. It's for you guys. So you guys can come up with something.
yes.
However you want people to win it, and I'll post it out to you guys.
All right. Cheers.
This is my camper trailer, but it's covered with all the boxes right now. There's a ACW media wall where
Yep.
people then we take photos, and there's like nice flooring. Everything's blacked out. There's lights at the top. Yeah,
Yeah, tell you
man.
what.
That's pretty much it. Like,
Tell you what, yeah,
that-
it's right up there, isn't it? But what do you think of that?
Yeah.
As far as training facilities go, Don, how is that, mate?
It looks about probably one of the top level in the. Well, so look, I'm about to say this. I haven't been to every training facility, but it's much
Yeah.
tidier than the ones I've been in.
the goal is to make it like clean. Like I'm a clean freak. I've got OCD, so I see it's kind of like for me this is messy. Like all these rubbish on the floor from the merch.
Yeah.
So it needs to be more clean. And these are like your roll mat that's going to be on the side of the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they got a lot of gear. Look how thick they are.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Safety, number one priority. You know, you don't want your favorite stars getting hurt. So you see like how big they are. They're gonna be all around the rings. Underneath
that's it.
the spring system.
I can tell you now there are plenty of shit rings around Australia, Hassan. So if you're giving people a good ring to bump in, that's a big head start.
Yeah, hopefully. Over here, we're gonna do the ACW Performance Lab LED sign. So it's gonna be up there, like a neon LED kind of sign, where you can take some good photos. And downstairs over here, it's gonna be transformed into a gym. So you can have like an everyday gym, and you can also have wrestling gym.
Yep.
And how far away are you off completion date estimating?
Probably because I'm gonna go overseas tomorrow. I'll probably say like when I'm back, I'll try to work on these.
Get it finalized.
Yeah. So that's a padding over another padding over the timber.
Yep.
I'm getting some other rings made. So pretty much every section of the ring, like on these corners over here, like in the middle, and everywhere it's going to be springs. So we're going to have hydraulics in the middle, but all of these are going to have springs.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. For the big ACW shows, two sides, like maybe one of this side, one of that side is going to have LED advertising, and advertising and like a media wall, pretty much.
Yeah. Are you doing it like the top of the line sort of stuff? That's cool.
Yeah. So every single show is gonna, like the big shows, they're all gonna. Almost dropped my phone. All the big shows, they're all gonna have their custom apron. So I think I posted online about it already with the All-Star show. There's gonna be like custom aprons all 4 sides.
Yeah.
So after the end of the show, we're gonna auction all 4 of them, and they have their dates. We're never gonna use it again. People can buy it, whatever the toughest bidder, we sell it to them, and 100% of that's gonna go to charity.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah. And where will they be?
Charity
on the side or on?
I'll try to see if we can sell it on site, or if it's probably gonna be like online.
Yep.
And you can pick a charity you want to donate to. But if we can do it on the show, it's going to be better.
Yep.
This is nothing exciting here, but it's just a kitchen.
Well, that's pretty sweet kitchen as far
here's
as
the
wrestling.
Question. Will you have water on your shows? That is the question.
Oh yeah, that's a big question.
Tell me, man. There's water here.
Oh, he's already prepared. Look at that. That's better than 20% of West Wrestling.
There's coconut water as well, not just water.
There you go.
We had protein shakes over here before. It's all finished. I really didn't get a chance to fill it up. I treat this place like my home, man. If you come to my home, you're gonna be welcome to a lot of good stuff. So if you're coming to here, you're gonna get welcome to a lot of good stuff too.
Fantastic. Awesome.
That's the full tour of ACW headquarters. Or one of us can talk. You go. I'll wait. You go, Scar.
Well, no, I was going to say this is what all the contracted wrestlers are hanging out in, and where we saw pictures before of you not signing the puppeteer, or.
Yeah, Tim is a great guy, but would we sign him? That's a question.
Oh well, yeah, that'll have to be a question I guess you'll answer in the future. Is there any more signees? Is there anyone hitting you up that any big names behind the scenes hitting you up, putting the feelers out? I'm guessing you got about 50 people.
There's few guys in America.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, like, when I first got into wrestling, I thought I was going to just do business. I didn't think I would also be a politician. But, yeah.
You were wrong, sir. Mate. You were wrong.
I'm sorry to say you were wrong. What are you filming at the moment, Hassan? Probably don't want to film that. There you go.
Yeah. That's fine. It's a video ad. You guys are going to probably see it soon.
Well, yeah, I really appreciate you doing that for us, Hassan. Hey, and
done, man.
So open and just trying to, show people that all of it is not AI and some of it is real, and it's an amazing place. And that's why we could see why Keegan was so excited now in that interview, Don.
Yes, very much
when
so.
he was explaining it all. Like, he's like, nah, man, it's fucking legit. And like, yeah, like Keegan's just going off and like, yeah. So we want to thank you, Hassan, the owner of Australian Championship Wrestling, for coming in, talking to us so openly and just showing us around.
Thank you for having me.
Well, yeah,
It was an honor.
before you go, is there anything else you want to just quickly add in, or
Oh, sorry?
anything else you just want to quickly add in?
Stay out of politics. Let the guys in Canberra do it. Just love wrestling.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good to hear. Let's focus on the wrestling now that we've got all that out of the way, hey?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot for coming on, Hassan.
Thanks, Hassan.
Thanks,
nice
man.
to meet
Thank you, guys.
Well, I hope everyone has thoroughly enjoyed hearing all about what happened between All Stars and ACW, and getting a massive insight into ACW. I didn't realize we were going to get that much. We're going to get the tour.
Yeah.
We got,
it was pretty cool to see. It's pretty open, like, for the first time really coming on screen, as I mentioned, been is pretty open, and yeah, everyone's been pretty open. So a massive thank you to Mitch and a massive thank you to Hassan for both choosing Australian Indie Wrestling to come on and give their sides of the story. Couldn't thank the guys enough for both agreeing to that. With everything going on between them, they were still cool. Like, hey, this is the place to tell it,
Yeah, no, and we're glad they both agreed to come along and talk about it.
So big, massive thank you to those guys. But Don, give us the wrap. Where are we going if we're going out to see wrestling this weekend?
That is it.
Back to
If
the wrestling.
you are in Australia and you want to know what wrestling is happening near you, you're about to find out. If you're in New South Wales, Australian Wrestling Superstars are in Ashfield at the Polish Club, Saturday, May 16th. Suplex Pro Wrestling have the Suplex Rumble in Newcastle United Sports Club, Saturday, May 16th. Pro Wrestling Australia have the Beer Shed Brawl, 18 plus only event at the Beer Shed in Lumia, Saturday, May 16th. Wrestle Strong Dojo, Holy Gales Cup Rumble at the Irish Club in Penrith, Sunday, May 17th. And World Series Wrestling Rise Against in Sydney at Panthers Penrith, Monday, May 18th. If you're in Queensland, Pro Wrestling Power has Wrestle Slam 2 at Brothers Cairns in Manunda, Friday, May 15th, and Saturday, May 16th. Queensland Wrestling Alliance have Double Tap number 3 at the Warehouse in Townsville, Saturday, May 16th. If you are in the South Australian region of Australia, World Series Wrestling Rise Against is in High Marsh and the Adelaide Entertainment Centre, Friday, March 15th. Riot City Wrestling has Mean Street Mayhem number 64. It's going to be on Saturday, May 16th at the Riot City Wrestling Academy in Kilkenny. If you're in Victoria, you have a lot of wrestling going on. Pete Pro Wrestling, No Sleep Till Brunswick at Inner North Brewing, Friday, May 15th.
Oh, that's going to be a party, ho.
It's going to be a party. You're going to catch yourself some Scar while you're there. Professional Championship Wrestling have Slam featuring Evolution at the Southeastern Entertainment Centre in Ferntree Gully on Friday, May 15th. Alpha Pro Wrestling Energy number 25 and Sunbury SmackDown Crossroads at Sunbury Memorial Hall, Saturday, May 16th. Lucha Fantastica is back with another tour as well, with the anniversary in Geelong at Geelong West Town Hall, Saturday, May 16th. And World Series Wrestling Rise Against in Melbourne is in Kensington, the Melbourne Pavilion, Saturday, May 16th and Sunday, May 17th.
Yeah, so check out for those watch-alongs as well that will be conducted over the weekend. So, yeah.
Very, very
join
keen
in if you want.
Get around it. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Make sure you get to some local wrestling. I've just told you where it all is. Your ticket money helps build that company and makes it bigger and better than ever. If you want to support a specific wrestler, make sure you hit that merch table. Buy a t-shirt, buy an 8x10, buy a hat, whatever they're selling. That money funds their wrestling dream, and you might mean you see them on something like somewhere a bit bigger later on. So make sure you get around it. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. That's Australian Indie Wrestling for this week. We'll see you next week.